hand on heart, taking your promoter's hat off for a second, how much of a threat do you perceive in Francis Ngannou on the 28th of October?
Hand on my heart, if he hits Tyson on the chin, he's going to hurt him.
How much faith do you have in him landing on his chin?
What fact? Well, I've never seen him in a boxing match. I've seen him in, so I can't comment on that. I spoke to a couple of people who sparred with him, and they said that he shapes up well and so forth. But they all said that when he lands a shot, you know you've been hit, and anything can happen. Anything can happen in these type of events. Tyson won't take it lightly. For me, as I've said from the beginning, I can't see him outboxing Tyson. I can't see Tyson, by the way, getting up on his toes and you know, fighting off the back foot, because he's not done that for his last 4 or 5 fights. I see it genuinely being a shootout, because that's how Tyson's been. You only got to see those fights he's had with Deontay Wilder. He's planted his toes and he's stood there and he's let bombs go. And he was on the floor a couple of times in his last fight as a result of that. So this fella's dangerous. He's a big, big lump. I mean, I've seen him in the flesh. I was standing next to him. He's a big guy. In his way, in his way, he fancies the job. He's got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And they're dangerous. That's a dangerous situation. So that's where we are. Do I expect Tyson to win? Yes, I do, because I expect him to beat anybody in a boxing ring. Anybody.
Is Usyk likely to be there in attendance? Could we see a face-off between them after the fight if Tyson comes through?
I would think he'd like to be there. I mean, I don't know at the moment, but I would think he would like to be there, and I hope he does come along. It'd be great to see him at ringside. I mean, you're going to be amazed at the people who are going to be at the event. It's going to be a star-studded event, and from the boxing world, it's going to be something extra special.
Now, you said Fury Usyk, once you've got a date planned, it won't move for anyone. I want to talk to you a little bit about shows that do clash and have clashed. We saw a Matchroom and Boxer show go head-to-head last week. Not huge shows, but still, it made the TV viewer at home have a few choices to make. Your October 28th show, I don't believe, clashes with anything major. Apologies to any promoters out there if I've got that wrong. November the 18th, Magnificent 7, which is a great card, and we'll talk about that in detail in a minute. That does clash with a Boxer show with 2 European title fights on it on Sky. How much do you try and avoid these sort of clashes, especially if they're both on TV channels at the same sort of time?
Well, we always try to avoid it, but it's about availability of venues. And I mean, over the years, it's not something new. It's happened, I mean, since I've been in the game. It's not an unusual situation. Prefer it not to happen. But it's like last night, Champions League. How many teams played at the same time last night? And the night before that happens. I prefer it not to be happening, but we've got this big show in Manchester, which, as you referred to, on the 18th. We've got 7 title fights on the bill. I mean, that's a very, very strong card. And for me, I'm really pleased and I'm quite proud to be involved with the event. It's going to be a cracking night for boxing fans. I mean, these are the sort of cards like this, all the best young British talent, a couple of the older guys, all the guys, hopefully the stars tomorrow. These are the cards that appeal to the plumbers, the builders, all those people who spend their hard-earned money on fights and want to know what's happening. That's what this is all about. That's what we've put these cards together for.
Well, I believe builders are particularly well informed about boxing as well, so we can't wait to have them at the show.
I had one working on my house, on the house a little while ago, and he was better informed about boxing than I was. That's for sure.
Fair enough. Well, that's no easy feat. Magnificent 7. I was at the first one in 2010, September the 18th. So it's like 13 years and 2 months to the day since that
Amazing.
one. Nathan Cleverly topped the bill there. What's taking you so long? Why have you waited this long to do a new one? It was a great concept.
Well, we've done it. We've looked at it a couple of times, and I don't know why we didn't do it again. I think we looked at doing one. We got involved, as you know, with Box Nation, and we were looking to do a couple of that. And for some reason, it just didn't happen. And this is really appropriate. They're really well-matched fights, some real good domestic bust-ups, some really good international fights. And it's going to be it will be a great night's boxing. I know I'm promoting it, but I'm telling you, this is going to be a special night's boxing. It's going to be brilliant to watch.
Yeah, I mean, on the first one, I remember Enzo Maccarinelli got, I think it was a substitute opponent. He was supposed to fight someone else initially, Frankel, who came in and starched him, unfortunately. And Matthew Hall came up short against Lucas Konechny, who was actually a really good fighter. Are you worried at all? Like when you make these 50-50 fights, there's always going to be inherent risk.
But there's going to be winners and losers, and you've got to look what happened after that. If a couple of guys get beat, you know, for me, getting beat is how you get beat and how you come back and your desire and what you want and what you learn from a defeat. You know, like if life is all about winning, I mean, very few people win all the time in life. I mean, Tyson does it, and there's a few other fighters like him who do it. But invariably, you're going to get that loss, and it's how you come back from that loss, how you handle it, how you handle any setback in life. And it can help build your character and turn you into, as far as a boxer, into a better boxer, and how to deal with it and learn, you know, how you got beat. And it's not the end of the world. We've got guys on there. There's a couple of guys like Denzel went and fought for that world title, and you know he should have won that. When you look back on that, if he'd have got his tactics right in the first 4 rounds, he would have won that fight. I'm really convinced of that. So he's learned for it, and he's in a, you know, him and Nathan Healy's a real good fight. It's going to be, I mean, the atmosphere is going to be unbelievable on the night. And you know, with Nathan, this is what he's worked towards, an opportunity to fight for a title, a big title, and that's what he's doing, and it'll be a great fight, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, you know, for me, somebody getting beat is not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world at all.
Now, just finally on the subject of shows clashing, there used to be a board of control rule that disallowed TV shows from being too close to each other, like a few weeks it might have been. I think you helped to get that rule thrown out. How do you feel?
That wasn't the rule. What it was
Tell us.
they had a regulation that there would be no major tournaments, as they call them, or major shows within the space of 14 days apart. So back then, the cartel, they used to promote at the Albert Hall and Wembley. So in 1 month, if they promoted the 2 shows 14 days apart, you couldn't get a look in, and you couldn't get any venues back then. You couldn't book a venue. I mean, I went up putting fights on in hotel ballrooms, circus tents, because there was nothing. There was, you know, there was no O2s, there was no London arenas, there was, you know, none of that. And most of the cities didn't have venues. No, like Birmingham never had a big venue. Manchester didn't have one. Newcastle, all over the place, they didn't have venues. And so I had to get over that to be able to put on my shows. Otherwise, I would have been a small hall promoter. That's what I've been doing. And that's what we had to do. And regarding the TV, they did not allow live television. There was no live TV. Boxing used to take place, say, at the Albert Hall or Wembley Arena on a Tuesday night. The next night they would show it, the rerun on Sports Night on BBC, and the highlights on Grandstand on Saturday. All you youngsters probably think, what's that silly old bastard on about? But that's how it used to work. And I fought to get live events. The reason the Board of Control back then didn't want live events, they said because it affected the game. But I felt it'd be the other way around, and having live boxing on and people not knowing the results and watching it live would enhance the sport, and more importantly, bring in more people to watch the fights. And that's what happened.
Now we've got so many TV promoters here in the UK, clashes are inevitable. Even though that's a sign that boxing's booming, would you like to see maybe 1 or 2 fewer TV promoters to avoid these clashes?
No, I think the more the merrier. It keeps everybody on their toes. I mean, as I said on numerous occasions, when I started out, there was only one TV promoter, and there was only one TV channel that showed domestic boxing. That was BBC. ITV only used to show fights from abroad that took place in Vegas, for example, on a Saturday night. They would show them on the Monday.
Yeah.
So that was what's happening. You know, I managed to get them involved and brought them into, into boxing, and that created competition, which was brilliant for the sport. It was great for the boxers because it obviously drove their purses up.
I guess staggering with the competition, the different fights on the show is not really an option when you've got 7 title fights.
No, well, I mean, look, that's good. We're just going to go. I mean, I'm looking at it now. You know, you've got Nick Ball and Isaac Dogboe. That's a cracker. Final eliminator for the world title. Nick's done everything that's been asked of him up to yet. He's 18-0. He's an exciting fighter. And you know that Isaac comes to fight. I mean, he's been there, he's done it. He's a former WBO world champion. So this is the most experienced opponent that Nick's fought. And it's going to say a lot about Nick. So he's got to be top of the game. Paul Stevenson, his manager and trainer, said he's really looking well in the gym, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in action. But there's some cracking fights on there. You know, we've got Hannah Rankin. She's fighting for the IBO World Super Featherweight title against Emma Kozin. So that's a cracking fight. You know, women, who'd have thought I'd be talking about women's boxing after we was talking about all these years? But that's a cracker of fight. She's lovely. I like her. She's a nice person. Now we got Anthony Cacace on there, Ryan Garner, Denzel Bentley, as we mentioned, Heaney, Liam Davis is fighting Italian Vincenzo La Femina. Nathan Collins against Zach Miller, it's a good fight. Dan Catlin, James Hannigan. You know, they're cracking fights. They're
turned into box rec, Frank.
What, mate?
You've got the whole show there. You've turned into box rec.
That's my part-time job.
Yeah, I bet it is.